What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night news roundup, where I'm going to be focusing on Liverpool's need and search for centre-back reinforcement in January. We're going to take you through some of the names that have been linked. I'm going to give you my take on exactly what we need. And of course, I want to know your thoughts. Do let me know in the comment section if there's one or two of these players that you think Liverpool should go for, or maybe you disagree with the names I'm going to go through. Do let me know. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Now remember, we are giving away this signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt. Entries close tomorrow, so get yourself over to the Anfield Agenda Instagram account at Anfield Agenda, where you can enter. And thank you to the Collectors Corner for donating the prize for us to give away. We wouldn't be able to do it without their support, so do go across and check out our friends at the Collectors Corner as well. Right, folks, let's get stuck into the centre-back conversation. So Liverpool are humming and hawing. They're back and forth about whether they should bring in a centre-back in January. For me and for the Liverpool fans that we discussed tonight in the late night agenda, the answer is we absolutely should be bringing one in. Now, Mark Gay is an example. You can see that he may or may not be available. Palace mightn't want to sell. Liverpool mightn't pay what it takes. So with him, it is kind of on the balance. But there are other names that have been doing the rounds. And one of them that came today is Ousmane Diomande. So let me read through this. And it said, in terms of who Sporting Director Richard Hughes and co. could look to target, there are a handful of names that have caught the eye. This piece here says Sven Botman, William Pacho, Zeno de Bast and Ousmane Diomande were specifically mentioned in the same TalkSport report. Indeed, the quartet scored strongly in Liverpool's data-driven approach over the summer. And this report, I believe, is from Empire of the Cop, said the Sporting star will of course be familiar to readers of the Empire of the Cop, who they've covered in their prior reporting. So he is, if I remember correctly, the centre-back from Sporting Lisbon that Crystal Palace were looking to bring in as a potential replacement for Mark Gay in the summer, but they couldn't agree a deal, or they couldn't get to the price that would have worked for them. He is a centre-back when we've been linked in years gone by with the likes of Iheanacho from Sporting. I've always said Diomande is probably the one closer to what we would need, and certainly a profile of player that I think would fit in better for Liverpool. So I would have no complaints personally if we did make a move for Ousmane Diomande. This report here from Football Insider, credit Transfer News Live for the post, they say Liverpool are looking at Crystal Palace's Maxence Lacroix as an alternative to his old club teammate Mark Gay. And a couple of people mentioned tonight that they were surprised that he wasn't called up to the national team, Lacroix, in the recent international call-ups. I can't say I've really focused too much on him when I've watched Crystal Palace. I usually try to look at Mark A because, you know, we've been linked there. But do let me know what you guys think on him. Would he be somebody that you think Liverpool should move for? What type of price tag do you think we'd be talking? And how likely would Glasner and Palace be to part ways with someone when they know they're going to be losing their captain as well, most likely on a free? One other name, and a few of these, by the way, I want to credit exactly where I've taken these from. Sports Illustrated have done a list of centre-backs that they think Liverpool could look at, and the next few that I'm going to go through do come from Sports Illustrated, so full credit to them for the piece. They say Ronald Araujo is one name that Liverpool could or should look at. They say Giovanni Leone's injury is not Liverpool's only centre-back concern. Of course, they go on to mention Ibrahima Konate and his contract uncertainty. They say with links to Real Madrid that just won't go away. So they mention and they name-check Ronald Araujo as one name. Now, he had been linked to us at the latter part of the summer transfer window. I'm not sure what his current situation is with Barcelona, but he was a name again that was being spoken about as potentially moving on from there. Let me know your thoughts on this one. It's not one that I can see happening personally, but be interested to know your thoughts. Now, we spoke about one player from Sporting Lisbon. Now let's talk about the other one, Gonçalo Inácio. His name is also doing the rounds. At Sports Illustrated, they say few transfer windows have passed over recent years without Gonçalo Inácio's name being linked with Liverpool. The Sporting defender has long been one of Europe's most promising defenders, but is yet to take the step to one of the continent's dominant forces. They do cite in this piece that one of the things that maybe hinders him for the way that we play is his lack of real pace. If you're playing at high line like we do and you're having to track back a lot of the time to cover for fullbacks, you're going to probably want a centre-back that has a little bit more pace than perhaps Inacio has. So let me know your thoughts on him. Well, we're sticking with the Portuguese league. Of course, Antonio Silva from Benfica was another name that had been a centre-back that I think Pep Guardiola name-checked once as one of the best young centre-backs coming through in world football. Haven't really seen too much of him recently, but that's another name worth maybe discussing. Joel Ordonez is one here that Sports Illustrated have mentioned. They say when Liverpool were evaluating young central defensive targets in the summer, Joel Ordonez's name was mentioned prior to Giovanni Leone's arrival. They go on to say the 21-year-old Ecuadorian was plucked from Independiente de Val, which is a club responsible for Caicedo, Hincapié, Pacho, and many, many other great players coming through from Ecuador. So he is another one that they say Liverpool are keeping an eye on, have looked at in the past, and could maybe revisit. Now, this is a name in Joel Ordonez that I don't know too much about, folks, so any help you can give me on that one would greatly appreciate. Pacho's name was mentioned as well, but look, I just don't see a world where Paris Saint-Germain are going to sell a player who's done very well for them. So for me, can't see William Pacho being a realistic option. Murillo is the next name that they go on to mention. And with Murillo, they say, Murillo could be a dream addition for Liverpool. The 23-year-old arrived at Nottingham Forest in 2023 after a stellar reputation carried from his time with Corinthians in Brazil. He turned out 36 times last year for Forest in his debut season with 39 appearances, forging an excellent partnership with Milenkovic. Murillo was integral to Nottingham Forest's European qualification last term, with the club's defensive record crucial to a 7th-place Premier League finish. So, look, I think we'd all agree Murillo would be a decent option, but probably a very, very expensive one. And again, full credit to Sports Illustrated for the last few names I've run through. It's come from their article. Certainly worth a read if you want to have a search. One more name for you to go through before we finish up, and that name is Castello Lukeba, who of course is a name familiar to you guys. Somebody who we've spoken about before, somebody who we've certainly been linked to before. This piece says Canada's heir could well be his compatriot Castello Lukeba. The 22-year-old rose to prominence with Lyon, but made the switch to RB Leipzig in 2023, where he's taken his game to a new level. The powerful and speedy defender has become a mainstay in the German side's defence, performing with impressive consistency during a difficult period for the team. Lukeba's apparent £78 million release clause is understood to be underscores his glowing potential, although Leipzig would reportedly allow him to leave for less. And that is key there, because I don't see a world where Liverpool would go and drop another, £78 million there on potential. £78 million, you would want to be buying the finished product. Although Lukeba has, of course, gained an experience since he's gone there, and I'm sure if Liverpool needed a reference, Jurgen Klopp would certainly be the right man to go to for it. So they are a collection of the centre-backs that Liverpool have been linked with. If there are ones that you think we should be looking at that may be worth mentioned, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'll be back tomorrow at 4:15 for the watch-along of the Chelsea game, where, let's be honest, we've got to get back to winning ways before the international break. And, of course, we don't want to be giving Arsenal top of the Premier League table for those 2 weeks. So, hope to see you for that. We'll have our match reaction, player ratings video, and, of course, we will also have an Anfield Agenda podcast episode coming out late tomorrow night. And last thing before I let you go, the last few tickets are still on sale for our last ever stage show. We're going to be at the Hot Water Comedy Club, Liverpool, Sunday the 19th of October, which is the night of the Manchester United game. They will be showing the game at the venue as well if you want to get there early and make a day of it. I'm lucky enough that I will be at Anfield for the game, but then I'll be racing straight to the venue, where I hope to see you guys for one last stage show. Right, appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love.